What's going on, everybody? It's Noah, and in today's episode of the RISE Method, I want to provide you with some practical tools and tips to help you effectively reprogram your mind, your state of being, so that you are naturally more successful. Now, I want to begin this by prefacing what does it mean to be successful? And I always love to use the quote from Earl Nightingale. The quote is that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And so who determines the worth of an ideal? What constitutes an ideal? It's you, essentially. So for something to be, or for you to be successful in any domain, okay, you have to progressively realize a worthy ideal, and you're the one that determines the value of that pursuit. So to preface what it means to be successful, okay, it's not looking to external sources to determine what it means to be successful. Okay, sure, a lot of us would like more money or to have a better house, a thriving love life. All these things are oftentimes great, but it ultimately comes down to what you deem to be a worthy ideal, a worthy goal that you want to progressively realize and actualize. That determines your success. And so now, with that understanding in mind, we want to address, well, how do we reprogram ourselves in such a way that we cannot help but be that successful version of ourselves, to take aligned action, to bring about the circumstances, conditions that we desire on a regular basis, whether it's health, wealth, relationships, whatever that might be. So to do this, we have to have an understanding of the theory of mind. Now, the theory of mind essentially breaks down the understanding of mind into two categories. We have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And as you know, if you've been following this channel, the RISE method is a process whereby we can effectively reprogram the subconscious mind. And so the subconscious mind is the more powerful part of your mind. It's the instinctual, natural part of your mind. Whereas the conscious mind, that is the domain of will and logic, reason, willpower, which are all effective and essential at times, yes, and actually help to shape the subconscious mind. But the ultimate goal of this is that we can instantiate change at a subconscious level. So again, we cannot help but bring about those circumstances, those conversations, those feelings that we ultimately want to have. To do this, we have to bypass, okay, any resistance that's preventing us from accessing the subconscious mind. So typically, when we're going about our days, living our normal lives, we are operating in familiar patterns that are stored in our subconscious mind, that are stored in our body. And it's hard to access and to alter those programs because we're operating in this elevated state, this beta brainwave state where we're very active. When you're listening to this video and you're having conversations, you're doing your work, you're typically in this beta brainwave state. And so how we can instantiate change by accessing the subconscious mind, we have to relax. We have to be still from within. Okay, and this takes place when we're sleeping, obviously, as we lower our brain waves. So when we are just waking up in the morning or just winding down for the evening, we're entering into this alpha brainwave state. So we're coming down a little bit. And then we start to enter into the hypnagogic state, that bridge between wakefulness and dreaming. And it's this kind of middle ground, which is kind of analogous to a flow state, if you will, because we're in this space between conscious and subconscious. It's in this middle ground that we can really make effective, lasting change at a subconscious level. So it's very important at the beginning and the end of your day to have some sort of a routine or a meditation to focus your attention in such a way that you are situating yourself internally with feelings and thoughts that are conducive to the life that you want to have, okay? To being the successful version of yourself, to being the more productive version of yourself, or being the one who completes the tasks to make more money, or to have the tough conversations to improve their relationships. Situating yourself in the state of being of that person at the beginning and or the end of your day. Because when you're in that lowered state, again, you drop the resistance, you lower the resistance to then access those patterns. However, that said, you can also access and notice these patterns playing out in your everyday life. It doesn't have to just be at these times of the day. we want to make our life a meditation in that sense. We want to be living from this state of awareness. And so as you're going through your day, you just realization, you realize the conversations, you realize the circumstances where you're starting to feel a charge, right? You're starting to feel quote unquote negative emotions. You're feeling sad, you're feeling shut down. Those are opportunities to actually access and to reveal limiting beliefs, reveal parts of yourself that are still running in the subconscious mind, that are running on the back and that have been operating for such a long time and trying to preserve you in some way, shape, or form. But now they no longer serve you, right? So in those moments, and you're going about your daily life, you can realize them, and in that realization, detach from them, because that's not who you truly are. Check out the previous video discussing how to be your true self, to be who you truly are. So in that realization, that is the first step in reprogramming the subconscious mind. And from that step, we make space now for the new to come in, because, right, what we don't want inherently points to a sense of what we do want. It's not one and the same. You don't construct your life solely based off of having experiences that you don't want to have, but it helps, and it's a part of the process, and it's part of becoming whole. You use what you don't want as well as what you do want. And then in that, you can imagine that end state. You can start to imagine, get clear on the vision for yourself, having a vision, a goal for your life. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once said that if one does not know to which port one is sailing, then no wind is favorable. So we're getting that definite chief aim. We're getting that North Star toward which we can orient ourselves. Okay, it gives us a reference point, an axis for our life going forward. So that way we can become even more aware, increasingly aware of times where we're showing up suboptimally, or we can notice these patterns reappearing. And that awareness in and of itself can help to reprogram your subconscious mind, just having the pure awareness and detaching, making the effort to detach from what no longer serves you. And then to surrender to the imagined state. Okay, that's another means by which we can bring this about, this change at a subconscious level. It's actually living in the paradigm that what you desire to have, what you seek, is who you truly are. It's already existing inside of you, and all you need to do is release the beliefs, the thoughts, the feelings that are no longer serving that way of being. Okay, and in order to do that, you have to accept them first, allow them in, and realize that they're not who you truly are. What you desire to have, who you imagine yourself to be, and what you're bringing into the world, what you are manifesting in the external, that is who you truly are innately. And you surrender, you allow yourself to be that version of yourself now. And it's a paradoxical thing, and that's the part of being whole. And when you're operating from wholeness, you're more powerful. That when you can have a goal or have an imagined state toward which you are striving, and you can simultaneously allow yourself to be that with all of your struggles and your challenges and your resistances and the limiting beliefs you've been holding on to, and you can make space for both, right? Accept yourself as you are as well as who you're becoming. That is when you're most powerful, and that effectively will help to change your experience of this entire reality, change your experience in your relationships and your business, and you show up more authentically, because authenticity is an immensely powerful state of being. It's 4,000 times more powerful than love in that scale of consciousness. So showing up authentically with what you have dealt with in the past and what you no longer want to experience, as well as having an idea of what you do want, having that definite chief aim, getting clear on that goal, and knowing what you do want, bringing those together into harmony and integrating the two, that reprograms your mind to then become successful. Because success, right, in that term success, right, it's not just about having certain external forms of success. It's not determined by what others are saying. It's determined by what you experience. And part of that experience, I would imagine, is fulfillment, being fulfilled in what you're doing as well. So when you can be whole in yourself, you're achieving your goals and you're making effective progress in that, and you're bypassing resistance and dropping unnecessary resistance, and at the same time you'll be fulfilled in actually having those things. I've come from a past myself where I've achieved in my sports career. I've achieved a lot. I've been very pronounced in athletics in high school and in college, but I never felt really fulfilled in any of that necessarily. And so that was because I wasn't reconciling parts of myself and accepting parts of myself that could be okay and accept themselves just as they are. And as a final note on this topic, I want to bring in the quote from the Hermetic philosophy, the law of correspondence: as within, so without; as without, so within. And it's that latter part, as without, so within, that I want to talk about here. It's the embodiment, actually living and having faith in your vision and taking action despite what you might be feeling, right? Being able to know, having again the awareness that you have patterns, you have these familiar patterns that you're used to. And so when you start to make that change, when you decide to make that change and you start to live from that place fully, that isn't to say that the resistance goes away, right? We're talking about the path of least resistance, not the path of zero resistance. So there will be resistance along the way, and it's knowing that while you continue to take action, because as without, so within, as you shift the external, okay, that's going to then reflect and feed and nourish what you're professing to yourself internally. You're going to see more confirmations of what you've internally affirmed to yourself to be true, to be who you truly are. So getting into the habit of taking action, and that comes from having a vision, having the clarity of the end, and reverse engineering the steps as to how we make that come about, right? How do we shift the environment? Who do we need to talk to? What are the next steps in my marketing strategy and building my funnel? Where is it going wrong? Getting really into the strategic element of things. If it's a relationship, being objective about the conversations that are being had and what needs to be addressed, and being able to sit with uncomfortable feelings and being authentic to that process, because again, the authenticity is premised on the truth, and that is why it's so powerful to live in authenticity, because authenticity is innately it's synonymous with wholeness, right? It's the same as wholeness. You're living from a place that you're acknowledging your greatest strengths and your aspirations and what you're striving to do, as well as what might feel to be a challenge in that process, and presenting all your pain and presenting, your struggles as well in that process. So being authentic to yourself in that embodiment, that will make change at a subconscious level as well, because the thing about being in this external world as well as in this internal world, it's a co-creative experience that we're all having together with one another, where we are all drops in the ocean as well as the ocean in a drop. So in interacting, in seeking that change and realizing that at a subconscious level, the external will surprise you in such ways. You'll receive feedback from others in such ways that in ways you may not have expected, right? You didn't know the how, but you trusted in the end and you took action nonetheless, and the external will provide you with nuances and provide you with insights that you may not have previously seen before, but because you made that decision to change, and because you've imagined the insight and surrendered to it, you've done the work, and you're living from that authentic place, it's starting to get more in resonance with your internal state of being. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, leave any comments or questions down below. Thank you so much. You can check out the additional resources as well. Apply to work with me one-on-one. Check out the Rise Collective. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm sending you so many blessings, so much love, and I see the prosperity and the peace and the power in your life manifesting in and through and as you in this moment now. I love you so much, and until next time, let's rise.